FC made the final Eastern Conference winner. Pittsburgh won the Shield in 2023. But watch out for Portland Hearts of Pine. They had a great Open Cup run. In Group 5, it's the mighty L's that should get plenty of dubs. Louisville, Lexington, and Loudoun. Well, some League One sides with some history are there too. And then there's Group 6. Charleston and Tampa Bay probably lead the group, but great League One resumes for South Georgia Tormenta and Greenville Triumph. Jägermeister Cup is on ESPN Plus starting this weekend. Meanwhile, here on CBS Sports, this big-time matchup from the championship. San Antonio and Colorado Springs are at the half. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. From San Antonio, Texas, big matchup in the Western Conference. San Antonio FC and Colorado Springs Switchbacks, two of the last three champions of the USL Championship. And good evening, everyone. Joined by Devin Kerr, Mike Watts on hand, and we begin tonight with San Antonio. The home side this evening could not have started Carlos Llamosa's tenure any better. What's gone wrong here these last 2-3 weeks?
Historical start, first off. Just the 10th team in championship history to win their first 4 matches straight. But an about face, a direct U-turn, now losing 3 games in all competitions. To me, it's threefold. Number one, they've had to deal with injuries. And a lot of teams can say that, but injuries paired with their inability to really attack efficiently going forward. That's where things started to open up negatively for them. Carlos Llamosa wasn't happy with the overall chance creation, their ability to be the aggressive one and go and chase a game. That opened them up further defensively. They started to concede. But the most important one for me, Mike, is leadership. New coach, new ideas, and the lack of a guiding voice that was Mitchell Taintor, their captain. Got injured in that 4th game, came out, has not played any of the last 3, and the numbers speak for themselves. It's simple. Mitch Taintor is on the field, San Antonio FC finds success.
Mitchell Taintor will be available tonight, captain the side at center back. Dev, how about we go ahead of the curve?
One of the best things about this Colorado Springs team is that they are aggressive on the defensive front, so much so that they carried 5 of 6 shutouts to end the 2024 season. Now, that's come into 2025, specifically high up on the field. They are one of the best in the league about applying pressure, creating numerical advantages in wide areas, and then pouncing on you with all of their personnel and advanced positions. Now, one of the things that has happened through all of that, very similarly to San Antonio FC, is they have also opened themselves up. They still get the numbers that they want. Defending, plain and simple. They do everything right on the defensive transition here except make the final play. This is something plain and simple that needs to be better. They've reverted back to the 2021 edition of Colorado Springs, where then head coach Brendan Burke joked and said, "We may score 100 goals even if we give up 99. This team has no problem putting the ball in the back of the net. The problem is not letting their opponent guess the best of them. The good thing, though, Mike, is most of this is fixable. It's on their own accord. It is not the opposition actually breaking them down.
Big game tonight between two teams that certainly know success. San Antonio won the double in 22. Colorado Springs finally reached the summit in 2024. San Antonio and Colorado Springs will meet the lineups and kick off when we return to the USL on CBS Sports. This is the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Colorado Springs and San Antonio taking the field at Toyota Field. Take a look at the starting 11 for San Antonio. 4 changes to the lineup. They are without Carlos Yamosa, their head coach, tonight.
But they get their captain, Mitchell Tainer, back. We talked about that in the open mic, leadership, how he takes full command of this back line and the defensive transitions and the pairing next to Alex Cronali. I love the fact that he's stuck with Jimmy Badron in the midfield. He gives you more bite, ground coverage, the ability to be a ball winner, and let this team explode going forward. And that's exactly what they need to do. They've been searching at the 9. They've been a little weak on the wings. Get their outside backs high, create numbers and advantage going forward. James Chambers, he's tweaked some things here too. For the first time this season, we see them drop into a 5 at the start of a match. Now, Real and Ward have plenty of speed on the outside. That's going to be fine. I'm curious how aggressive this back 3 is going to be with Lacroix, Mahoney, and Matusala. And in the midfield, Quincy Armand is going to be tasked with being the number 10. Don't be surprised if he bumps out to the left. Endely can flatten it out. They'll be shape-shifting in the midfield with all of it resting on the quality form that has been Justin Dillon in the 9 spot.
So Colorado Springs returns to a place in which they've lost their last 7 games. Mitchell Tainer is back, and we are underway tonight, Wednesday night, in the USL Championship. 2 games on the schedule. This one leads the way. San Antonio hosting Colorado Springs. Throw for Akeem Ward, his 150th championship appearance. Tainer sends an early message into the back of Dillon. And here's Tainer. Dev, the stats were fairly staggering. This is a team that is dead even without him on the field, and some 66 goals better when he is on the field over about 200 games.
Yeah, everybody kind of looks at it and goes, okay, leadership, sure, he's got a loud voice. Familiarity within those conversations on the field, though, is something that has really troubled this team due to all of the new faces, Mike, right?
Hawkinson held up by Ward, kept his feet. Hawkinson ships this across, header away. Paredes! We've heard some outstanding stuff about Andres Paredes from his teammates. His 3rd appearance for SAFC.
One of the new faces, Andres Paredes, and that's exactly where I was going. So they've struggled to find a little bit of rhythm within each other because they just haven't been on the field enough. They need experience. When you have a lack of experience, the individual capability takes over, and that's kind of everything we've heard about Paredes within his training so far with San Antonio since he's come in. Doesn't lack for 1v1 capability, and 90 seconds in, almost a highlight reel move.
Circles back to Cronali. Got a fresh cut this week, I've read. Paid in Bitcoin. To be fair, he's been paid in Bitcoin over the years as well. Good time to see the digital currency back above 90,000.
Dumped it at 75. I didn't, but, you know, once upon a time.
Tainer into midfield and lost by Madronda. Came in with a lot of heat. That was a big ask. Armand, they're going to bring this back. Referee tonight is Natalie Simon. Caught a hand. And Marco Micheletto picks up a very early yellow card. His 2nd yellow this season. Spent last year at New Mexico. Know you're a fan of Micheletto's game.
He's really good in terms of possessional capability, Mike, slowing the game down and then immediately springing the attack going forward. The pivot point of what was Eric Quill's possessional based offense that quite often found him in more advanced positions for Colorado Springs Switchbacks. A little bit deeper within the build overall, but still that responsibility centrally that a lot of the movements over the 90 minutes want to be played through him. It's also one of the biggest changes for Colorado Springs this year. You know, talking to James Chambers about it, you lose Speedy Williams. For those that don't know, a Mount Rushmore player in championship, the only player to ever win a title with Count it. 1,
Red Bull,
2,
Louisville,
3. Colorado Springs, separate teams.
3. Okay, I'm just making sure. Like, am I missing somebody?
No, just making sure you're not on the same page. But what he did for this team was long switches. I'd probably say 75% of movements off the back line came through him in the 6th spot. There's a little bit of predictability within that, though. The midfield's different this year. There's more reach. I used the word coverage before. The flexibility you have on how you want to attack the game down Route 1 that enables the width to then become an asset is where Colorado Springs have benefacted the most out of the change.
Lost by Ward, but recovered by Colorado Springs. Soto getting involved. Armand on the wrong end. And a throw for Blanco. Forget losing your last 7 games in a certain venue. How about not scoring a single goal in that span? Colorado Springs, to be fair, is quick to say San Antonio, different head coach, mostly different players since last time they won in 2019. What does it really matter? Carlos Simosa told us yesterday, well, I hope that the dominance continues, but he wasn't around for it previously. That's a push. Maybe got some error, knocked out. Stumbling into the ball. Duke Lacroix cedes the free kick to Jorge Hernandez. Makes his 150th appearance in the championship as well tonight. $19 assists over the last 2 years, but forget being provider. 3 goals on the young season for Hernandez. Letdown service. Madronda allows it out. Pranali. Back from Grieve. And stretching it over the top. There goes Blanco. Offside. Idea was good.
I really like the look here from San Antonio FC. What do we say over the lineup as they started to push their wingers a little bit higher? Needed that support, right, Mike, from their outside backs. And Nelson Blanco, you know, the change that sees Jimmy Madronda bump up into the midfield. I talked about his bite, but also the long switches, his comfort level to pop out also gives Nelson Blanco that added comfort that if he goes high, he does have the coverage defensively if Madronda wants to drop in some of those defensive transitions.
See the hands extended from Mahoney, suggesting he wanted someone to want the ball in that moment. Captain of this switchback side. Defender of the Year finalist last season. Sanchez. Colorado Springs 1 win through 6 last year. Started with 5 straight defeats, ended up champions by season's end. Carried forward by Hernandez. Hawkinson lets a shot fly. Abraham Romero makes his 4th start in 7 games this year. Simple stop. As Christian Herrera, who led the team to the title a year ago, started 3 games, and James Chambers has told us he's happy to have 2 number 1s. Said Herrera has dealt with the short-term demotion well. Long here for Real. Went for the near post. Sanchez has that simply enough. Flutters onward toward Grieve.
Initially, Mike, the idea that was going to be this 3 center back system has certainly evolved into just 2 out-and-out marking backs. Lacroix playing left back spot. It's not uncharacteristic for them playing Matt Real a little bit higher. That's a little bit of a change. Inverting in the midfield is something that is well within his comfort zone, but you know, making sure that you have that constant presence on the wings. That, to be fair to San Antonio, although they've struggled going forward, that's not an area that you really look at and go, that needs to be better. More consistent, maybe, but we've seen real quality out of the width of the field from 2022 title winners.
Nicoletto went short. Gets the return. Quaffs this across. Got by Sanchez at that opposite post and slips out of play from Nicoletto.
Well, the scout for him coming over for New Mexico outside of the run of play. It's got to be that wicked right foot he's got in set pieces. He's so good 30 yards and in. He's dangerous, and it's not always looking for goal. It's trying to be that focal point that allows him to set up the other personnel around him. It's the same scouting report for you on Saturday mornings at the basketball court, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you're in the right ballpark if I went on Saturday mornings. It's been many, many years since I balled at 4.
Sunday it is.
Yeah. Well, Hawkinson certainly felt he got run over. Knocked away from Nicoletto, comes up to Grieve. And a chance to break through off the right-hand side. There goes Paredes. Paredes! Oh! Could you hit the woodwork any cleaner than that? Well, it certainly hit something. Paredes can't believe it. It ricocheted back into play.
This is one of the things that has plagued Colorado Springs, an uncharacteristic turnover, but love the verticality from San Antonio here. The commitment, Mike, to immediately take that initial step off and running to push multiple numbers forward, and he's going to want that one back because although he gets the angle right, he moves the goalkeeper to his left. Should have come back across his body. An acreage of space available on the back post.
Meanwhile, poor missed clearance, and Endley out of real estate. He thought that that was going to be a corner. He is factually incorrect. There is Freddie Herrera, the acting San Antonio head coach. Dev, it's not often I get into matters of pro and coach, but there's Carlos Llamosa up in the booth, the first-year head coach. Got a red card against Miami FC. Not as good a quote as I heard from the AV Alta head coach saying, I was Mother Teresa, I didn't say anything wrong, when he got sent off from a game a few weeks ago. But he said, I was told I left the technical area and received a straight red card for it, as opposed to a warning and then a yellow card and then potentially a red. So ultimately, he's unable to coach in this game, and I think you and I look at each other and go, he's probably a little bit hard done, unless, in fact, he was not like Mother Teresa.
There are 2 parts to it. Number one is there are protocols put in place so that mistakes don't happen. And while certainly it feels like there was a slip-up, I've also been sent off for less, so it's hard for really for me to pass judgment.
Well, that's because of reputation.
Sure.
Carlos has a great reputation. Ball slipped aside by Lacroix. Hermosa, former U.S. national teamer, born in Colombia. Came to the U.S. in 1991. Actually worked in the World Trade Center complex in the early 1990s. Was playing Sunday League in Flushing Meadows Park. Then jumped in as an all-USL player for the New York Centaurs. Then jumped into an 11-year MLS career at DC, Miami, the Fusion, that is, the Revs and Chivas USA. All lobbed over the right side, sneaks by Paredes. Ward. Herman got that back to Sanchez.
It was a fun little game of hide and seek within the midfield right now. Almir Soto doing a really good job defensively, popping himself up high as Echeverria and Herman try and find some space next to Micheletto. Haven't really found the seams to operate within yet. That's because all the space and individual marking on the inside by San Antonio.
Dishing outside for Endley, one back by Blanco and Tainter. Blanco's pass swarmed Echeverria. Well, the flag went one way, the arm goes the other.
Tell me this isn't a carbon copy of what we showed you pregame, though, the pressure up high, how Colorado Springs commit numbers forward, and then they use the sideline probably better than anybody in the league, except for Louisville City, as one of their own assets. Notice one-on-one, they push you real quick, it becomes 2v1, they've got the end line 3. There's the advantage, you step in. Now, the foul occurs, and good closure on this near touchline by Nelson Blanco, but James Chambers going to be really happy, even after the turnover, their commitment to win the ball back.
And Herman down the line. Andely walks it in. That's blocked. Hernandez kept it in at the line. Blanco. Corner. Look, that pressure's great. 6 guys all in one quarter of the field, and you win the ball back. If you don't win the ball back,
you're in
Tainter
trouble.
Can hit that diagonal better than almost anybody in the league.
Bingo. Yeah, and that's probably the biggest change that we've seen 17 minutes into this match. It's not the fact that Tainter can hit the long ball, while I certainly agree with you. It's that positionally there's a lot more respect from Colorado Springs on the defensive front. They're sitting back. It's also allowing Alex Crognale and Mitch Tainter to be heavily involved in possession.
Ricochets high and curled off frame. So a beneficiary bounce for Marco Micheletto. Put a lot of English on it, but off target from the Italian.
Certainly not on the preferred put, but we would never know it by the manner in which Marco Micheletto goes about his business there. How's that for ball? Woo-hoo-hoo.
That's one way to take 5 white shirts out of the occasion. Now ladled forward, slid away from Hawkinson by Ward. Here's James Chambers, his 2nd season at the helm. Won the title in 2024, finished his playing career at Bethlehem Steel in the championship. Now Philadelphia Union 2, as they've become a reserve team in name as well. RIP to the best jersey selection in the league. At least the best collared jersey in the league.
Tied for the most successful team in the history of the Open Cup as well.
That's right. Reaching the edge, slipped aside by Lacroix. It was fun. We spoke to Matt Mahoney, the captain for Colorado Springs, was a teammate of Chambers at Bethlehem Steel, about the difference between Captain Chambo and manager James Chambers. said he was about 5-10 years older than the vast majority of those Bethlehem players. And there were some guys sold for $5-10 million over to European squads out of that team. How important he was in teaching him what it means to be a pro and to go through the 9-month slog of the season. But also said now as a manager, he has to harness that passion and that fiery nature on the sideline a little more. He says he has. Cranked upfield by Romero. Andeli, Micheletto. Snap down at the feet of Herman. And out to Mahoney. Micheletto. Loose touch and given away to Grieve. Stab back, Grieve is going to be offside. He is. There is no VAR, so maybe that's close enough that in other competitions you may see them let that play out, but not to be. Show off your team pride in style with official merch from shopusl.com. Check out brand new tees, hoodies, novelty items, and more of your favorite USL team at shopusl.com by scanning the QR code on your screen now. That Kickers hoodies calling my name. What are novelty items?
Do you want me to answer this? You know the answer, my friend. Oh, what a turn.
Good turn. Echeverria cuts it back toward Freeman. There's the goal. It's years in the making for the Switchbacks. Matt Real. And the first goal in San Antonio for the Switchbacks since 2019.
We get a lot of credit to Mitch Tainter and Alex Cernali, but watch the range by Matt Mahoney of Colorado Springs here. Nice ball. 20-yard ball to the outside. You allow Akeem Ward, as he doesn't press up high, to just be patient for a second. Echeverria, this is that range that we were talking about in the midfield. More dynamic, less predictable, and more difficult to defend if you're wearing a black jersey tonight. 20-yard run out of the midfield, beautiful vision, coming back across, and just excellent timing to put this thing into the bottom corner for their lead. That is total football from James Chambers and co.
First of the year for Matt Real. 25-year-old from Philly area and PA, and another like Mahoney of the players that came up under the guidance of James Chambers then as a player and made the trek out west. San Antonio has now conceded first in 5 consecutive games. And now a foul. He laughed when I brought up the history between the two teams, James Chambers.
Are you aware of it? Yeah, no, I've never no idea what you're talking about. Certainly one for the dramatic in the most coy of ways, James Chambers.
It came about, what, 24 hours after we had spoken to Matt Mahoney, who said, yeah, we haven't fared very well against San Antonio over the years, have we?
I was blown away by it. An unreal run that that's favorite San Antonio FC. And, you know, it's one thing, Mike, that you think, oh, you know, historically, this team hasn't fared very well. Well, how many guys wearing a white jersey have not been able to slay the dragon, who have continuously put that badge on over the last 4 seasons and still haven't tasted victory?
Smashed away by Cernali. Comes over to Ward. Chips forward, header steered off the post. The whistle's gone. Justin Dillon in offside position. Was in San Antonio for 3 seasons, scored 16 goals, part of the championship team in 2022 for SAFC, and was with Colorado Springs last year when they won the title. Hernandez, it's a great idea, slips all the way through to Romero. Nicoletto. Tusula into this switchback squad, his 5th start. Spent the last 4 years in the Canadian Premier League at Forge, which is the great power of that relatively new league. Endley, Ward, Echeverria. Good step, pops out to Hawkinson. Grieve, the New Zealand international, lassoed from behind. It's Nicoletto again, he's on a yellow. Tenth season for San Antonio FC. Appearing both ways, Cronali drops it in over the top for Grieve. Nicoletto slowed him down, Mahoney taps aside. Throw for Hernandez, who's looking to get it in quick and did. To his detriment. Saturday, 3 Eastern, race back here to CBS Sports Network and catch the America's Athletic Classic. Don't miss the Drake Relays. You're moving a lot better, Dev, since that off-season knee surgery. I'm not sure you're ready for Drake Relays, but sooner than later.
I did set a PR today since I went under the knife.
On the underwater treadmill, on what?
Oh, very well done. I walked 2 miles, averaging 18:36.
Nothing happened to my knee this offseason, and I wouldn't have done that.
I had yet to break 22 minutes, and coming from a guy who was running sub-6s on a regular basis, it's a victory in its own right.
He's back, baby. Touched into play. Here comes San Antonio. Blanco. Madronda can hit from anywhere. He wishes he hadn't hit from there. It was funny talking to Carlos Ibosi. He said, look, I was on the Portland touchline and saw Madronda score a total stunner against us when he was with the Sounders. Can play any position. He's got exquisite technique. Guy is more than happy to have in his colors now. And I know you're happy to see him in midfield for sure.
Yeah, you know, they've nullified him of sorts 28 minutes in. There's a lot of man marking going on by Echeverria and Quincy Armand. They've become a shadow of sorts, especially the way that they release Almir Soto to chase a little bit higher at times. So he gets isolated. They haven't been able to play through him. And a lot of the passages by Colorado Springs, Mike, they're just quick inside and then out. It hasn't really allowed Madronda to utilize some of the best attributes of his game, something like that, where you come up, down, and in, and then his long switches, kind of like what we've seen out of Mitch Tainer and Alex Cronali. Pings a 40-yard ball really better than anyone in the Western Conference.
You can see from Cronali's reaction, he got that wrong. Here's Methuselah. Dished into the width. Ward. Herman. Andely. Ward is inverted. Andely. Mahoney. Got away from Blanco. Andely navigating. Floated into the penalty area. Wild attempt at that. Coming back for a blast that will angle well off the mark.
There's some slip-ups about 10, 15 minutes in. Colorado Springs much cleaner on the ball since then, and the way that they've been able to create some opportunities, Mike. Good width on the field, better overall decision-making, and that predictability aspect that we talked about in the midfield that led to the opening goal that is subsided with new personnel coming in. Much more difficult to figure out exactly the way that they want to go about their business.
That's going to stay in. Lacroix is still down. Wonder if the referee will stop play. Yeah, Natalie Simon will, in fact, stop play. So Lacroix will see Natalie Simon wave the athletic trainer on, and we step aside for 30 seconds. So Duke Lacroix is attended to on the field, his 199th appearance in the championship. Cup of coffee with the Haitian national team. Jumped into that squad last year from New Egypt in New Jersey. He'll hobble off. This is what caused the problem.
Maybe got caught in the turf coming up underneath it, and then, oh, there it is. I thought he got his studs caught in the grass, Mike. It's actually the connection with Paredes on that ankle of his that he's reaching down towards, as if they can afford another injury.
They're without Zach Sandy tonight due to red card suspension. Charlie Adams, their sixth that they added midway through the offseason, or late, I guess, in the offseason. Unavailable for selection tonight. Striding, slip ball didn't go, pops out to Blanco. Blanco, service, kept away from Hernandez, will chase it down. Magician on the ball, whips it in again. Tusula sends away, Madronda, it's blocked en route. Yeah, Dev, to your point with Colorado Springs, right? They started 0-5, and I said, you know, at this stage, you're sitting on 5 points through 6 games, not far off from where you were last year, right, Coach Chambers? And I don't think he cared for that characterization, because I think they feel they're much further along than they were a year ago, for one. And not just by points, but they've also had a couple of lessons that they had to learn the hard way to this point that probably shroud that record a bit.
I would also say last year you watched them get beat.
Yeah.
Not handily, but
they were beat.
Yeah, teams came onto the field and said, they could say they were the better team. When I watch their performances so far this year, that's not the case whatsoever. You know, I talked in the opener as well as 10, 15 minutes in. They've been a little bit sloppy on the ball at times. They've been unfortunate in some of the goals that they've conceded because they've gotten in their own way. Poor turnovers, bad decision making. And within all of that, people at home are going, well, yeah, that's part of the game, for sure. But it's a part that you can control. You know, if you're sitting there and better tactics and coaching on the other side get you in trouble, that's a whole nother conversation. That's not the case for Colorado Springs. So now it's about fine-tuning all of these principles that have put in place, most importantly for me, the defensive side of things. Yeah, this team's bread and butter to close out their 2024 title run was 5 shutouts in their final 6 games. They can always be an unstoppable force on the attacking end. But that old idea of you start conceding more than you're putting in the back of the net, that eventually gets you in trouble. And unfortunately for them, to start this year, that's been exactly the case.
Highlighted at pregame, bottom 5 in the league in goals conceded to this point. The goal they've scored tonight, 11 up, 11 down. Paredes stumbles back to his feet. Switchbacks allowed 40 goals in 34 games, but you mentioned the 5 clean sheets in the last 6. Certainly make that look a lot better. And what's more, they finished second in the Western Conference, and it took a lot of things falling right in the last couple of games of the season. That's not to take a knockout, but 7 minutes remaining in the year, they were not the 2 seed. And then you're potentially going on the road in round 2. So they host Oakland, then Orange County. That took extra time. Western Conference final against the incredible turnaround story in Las Vegas. And then a 3-0 win over Rhode Island in the final in front of a packed house in Colorado Springs back in November. Placed the trophy for the first time. Stumbling through, all was won by Osorio. Mission accomplished. Hawkinson. Long ball down the right side. Romero. Tainter. Strong-willed header upfield.
I'm a little bit surprised referee didn't blow the whistle on that one.
Slipped aside from Andley.
Coming the other way, a bit unfortunate that this was not blown for Hernandez in the 10th spot, and then that is pretty much everything that could fully encapsulate the quality of Mitchell Tainter. We discussed his leadership and the voice of reason, if you will. Just his understanding of whatever system is put in place. Of course, Alan Marcina, predecessor to probably Somoza, now a little bit less aggressive, high up on the field defending, more possessionally based, more responsibility for that back line and deeper lying fashion, and still Mitch Tainter able to almost always put up a 8+ performance.
Tainter probably the perfect example of the quote-unquote mentality monster that San Antonio made famous in the league. Route to that first place finish, the Shield, and eventually the championship final victory over Louisville in 2022. Alan Marcino left such a legacy in San Antonio and let go at the end of last season as they went in a different direction with Marco Ferruzzi taking over the sporting operation. Told me once, the best bang for your buck is to improve a player's mentality. You can go out and find all the tools, but in terms of taking a budget and raising its capability, it starts in the square foot between the ears.
How interesting, by the way, that those comments shared almost verbatim by James Chambers, having no clue that that conversation ever took place, and saying that a change of scenery and coaching ideas can reinvigorate passion.
Reeves sent it back, and Hernandez puts it 7 rows deep.
That's certainly the hope here, though, for Alex Grieve, the New Zealand men's national team full international, who they've really yet to find that consistent number 9. The one-on-one that we spoke about with Paredes, and to be honest, it's not the best of balls. It's behind him. He wanted that ball in the air, and you know, if you put some elevation on that, Mike, the timing would have been right. He had a 5-yard buffer to be able to go and attack it. He has to cut back on the ball in behind him to then try and pull a rabbit out of the hat. But when you address movements like that, which Carlos Llamosa, I said, is this just about experience and familiarity with all? Is there a deeper lying issue for your lack of success going forward? He goes, no, this is reps. This is about these guys feeling gameplay, going through tough moments. You know, the good news is 4 start to the season, 4 straight wins, propelled them into the Players' Shield, which is the #1 overall seed in the USL Championship. 3 straight losses in all competitions, and yet, Mike, as we're talking right now, win tonight puts them back into first in the West. So trials and tribulations, sure. Lack of experience, not going to be an issue when push comes to shove later on this season.
There is the suspended Carlos Llamosa, San Antonio head coach, up at press level tonight for violation of the painted technical area, as James Chambers tries to keep his right foot engaged with the line and then lets it slip. You know, those 4 wins, 12 points, you could be about 30% of the way, 20% of the way to a playoff spot right there by the time it's all said and done. Last year, 8th place took 42 points, but it was a 34-game season. This year, only 30 games to make up for the fact there's now the Jägermeister Cup in League One and the Championship with 4 group stage games. So still 34 matches played by teams, but only 30 count toward the regular season. So by that measure, you'd say, what, 36, 37 points in theory gets it done. On the drive, slipped aside, kept alive by Endley, knocks it across, and whisked into the net, and Colorado Springs has doubled their money before halftime. It's the former SAFC star, Justin Dillon. 5 goals in 7 games to start the year for Dillon.
That's another mistake on the back line, though, for San Antonio FC. It's not often you see Alex Crognale cough off a ball this easily. Hit too soft, in from behind. To be fair, Grieve stops working and then right back to the job. Endley, great job on the explosion. The speed that he has and wide open spaces, explodes to the end line. Gets caught a little bit under his feet. The benefactor of a quality of bounce. But wrong foots Mitch Tiener, even for a half a second, to allow himself to get this ball back across the 6. Not the cleanest of finishes for Justin Dillon. Won't matter, though. Stat sheet won't lie. From bad to worse real quick from San Antonio, and lethal in transition for Switchbacks FC.
He had 12 goals in 2019 in Tacoma. Had some really bright moments with San Antonio over a 3-year stretch. But you think back to last year, began in El Paso, finished in the Springs. He had 5 goals in 32 games. He's got 5 goals in 7 now. Tossed in and down to Micheletto. San Antonio trying to avoid what could be a 4th consecutive defeat. Lost on CBS back on April the 6th against Phoenix after that vaunted 4-0-0 start. And then the real puzzler, they lost to Miami. They lost to Miami. Thank you.
You're goading me into a reaction.
And then lost to Omaha in the Open Cup, which, as we've come to find out, hardly anything to blush at.
Is it an upset even more, given the results that have been the League One team.
Omaha.
A couple of seasons. Pretty impressive, to be honest, man. They certainly take the competition seriously. They are now, Union Omaha, 9-3-2 all-time in Open Cup play since their first tournament appearance in 2022. Both draws, by the way, they advanced when they went to penalties. San Antonio FC just the latest victim to Tom Casciato and the Owls.
Who's next on their hit list?
Well, that's
2 weeks away on Paramount Plus.
That would be St. Louis City.
That's
in Energizer Park.
Yeah, Not saying I'm predicting anything. I'm just saying Omaha is known to give it a go. They'll be up for it. Of course, the Open Cup taking its turn on CBS Sports Network. The Golazo Network and Paramount Plus from the third round on. 2 added minutes of first half stoppage time. Speared into the air, Grieve trying to win it back, Micheletto. In goes Osorio. And this game of hacky sack is over. Up from Romero. Matusala. This is going to slip through. There goes Dylan. Has support in Endley. Instead hangs this back. Endley now off the right. Peers back in. Herman. This will be a throw. Halftime, we're going to chat about the Jägermeister Cup, and it kicks off this weekend on ESPN Plus. Take a look at the 6 groups. The rules that have Devin intrigued. Also have first half highlights here from San Antonio.
Certainly James Chambers, Colorado Springs, the fast start. Player of the game, higher up on the pitch, more control throughout the first half, especially in the midfield, and better representation out on the width, Mike. Certainly the goal by Matt Ray on the 21st minute, courtesy of Echeverria, is going to be the highlight. I think defensively they've done well for themselves. San Antonio FC, number one, got to get out of their own way. Number two, they've conceded now in the first half 7 straight games. Only Phoenix Rising in the Western Conference and overall have conceded more. They've fallen behind early. They got to maintain confidence, and they've got to find a way to get more involved in the midfield. The space is there. They have to commit. Too much separation between Soto and Madronda. Better relationship between those two in the second half to find success.
Well, Hernandez thought he was going to be able to win a corner. Instead, he's going to take the longest possible walk to the dressing room at halftime, and a little frustration shown as well. Colorado Springs back 2 goals in the first half in the place that's proven site of their nightmares for the better part of the last decade. Real in the 21st and Dillon in the 42nd. Mitchell Tainer back in the 11, but San Antonio's woes continue. Switchbacks ahead, a look at Jägermeister Cup, and our first half highlights are coming up. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Best Western got my full attention. Oh yeah.
SFC fans, direct your attention to the pitch. Performing for your halftime entertainment, please welcome the Gonzalez Apache Band.
You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. It's halftime here in San Antonio between the Switchbacks and SAFC. Come back into the booth, everyone. Of course, this great regular season action out of the championship, but Devin, the Jägermeister Cup is kicking off, and it's going to have a totally different look. Last year, it was merely the League One sides taking part in this USL Cup competition. This year, all 38 pro teams in the ecosystem will be involved.
A couple of key points for me as well, Mike. Number one, there are 6 groups. Each group winner advanced to the knockout round stage, and then 2 wild cards, which are basically the next best with the most points. Once you get in through that, they reward a tiebreaker with total goals. I know you and I are both keen on this. Really, the ability to go and chase the game should open up some of these competitions early on to go and push yourself into a knockout round game. This is where it gets really interesting to me. A draw is going to determine the quarterfinal knockout round, and subsequently, they will redraw after every single knockout round game, with the only restriction being wildcard teams cannot play the group winner that they advanced out of. The redraw is insane to think about.
Should be a lot of fun. Now let's take a look at the regionalized groups. Let's start in Group 1. Las Vegas, biggest turnaround of 2024. Sacramento made the Open Cup final in 2022. All eyes on them, no doubt, as 5 of the 6 teams from California. Meanwhile, in Group 2, the last 3 championship winners, San Antonio, Phoenix, Colorado Springs. But the upset pick, Union Omaha. How about in Group 3? Totally up for grabs. Yes, there's Birmingham, Tulsa, and Indy, but don't be surprised if they go full Mingo, Knoxville, or Chattanooga as well. In Group 4, Rhode Island FC made the final Eastern Conference winner. Pittsburgh won the Shield in 2023. But watch out for Portland Hearts of Pine. They had a great Open Cup run. In Group 5, it's the mighty L's that should get plenty of dubs. Louisville, Lexington, and Loudoun. Well, some League One sides with some history are there too. And then there's Group 6. Charleston and Tampa Bay probably lead the group, but great League One resumes for South Georgia Tormenta and Greenville Triumph. Jägermeister Cup is on ESPN Plus starting this weekend. Meanwhile, here on CBS Sports, this big-time matchup from the championship. San Antonio and Colorado Springs are at the half.
The USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Look at Celebrity Row. There's Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. Colorado Springs a 2-0 lead over San Antonio. Doug don't like that. Let's take a look at our first half highlights, Dev. They're going to look a lot like goals.
There's a tweak to the lineup. I thought maybe they might try and play more out of a 3. Instead, they stick with the 4, which is what we've become accustomed to, but the idea was to get Matt Ray a little bit higher. Now, he had been inverted. There wasn't much exposure on the width. They didn't care on this move because he was so tight in. Did a really good job. After they moved themselves up high on the good ball by Realta Echeverria, he comes on the diagonal, creates the opening goal. Let's double it now. 21 minutes later, in the 42nd minute, here's that pressure. This is their identity. They come up high, they create the mismatch, and as Adelaide goes to work here, dragging 3 separate runners with him. Yes, a little bit of lady luck, but as he continues, this is all about his determination to keep the play alive. Good vision on the cutback across, and then Justin Dillon, just a natural striker atop the 6, adjusts his body, doubles the lead, 2-0 after 45 minutes of play.
And leaves his former teammates in San Antonio plenty frustrated, trying to avoid making it 4 losses on the bounce. Switchbacks ahead by 2, second half coming up. The USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Switchbacks 2 goals ahead. The Wild West over San Antonio. How about we take a look at our travel map, brought to you by Best Western.
All right, why not? Herman Enele and his performance in the first half, almost unstoppable. They've done a really good job of keeping him up high. Credit, by the way, to Akeem Ward with all of his coverage with that speed that he possesses. Matt Mahoney just behind. But I like the efficiency aspect of NLA. Now, 4 games total, but in the last 3 games, a goal and 2 assists. There's consistency, number one. In that first half, 20 touches to his name. He was 14 of 14 passing. That's 100%, and 12 first-time passes. Not too shabby of a body of work.
NLA first-round pick down in Dallas out of Indiana. A Blaine, Minnesota native. A totally different profile than their previous wingers. And provides a great option to this switchback team. As the sun has gone down, it is a beautiful night in San Antonio. Weather.com tells us that the chance of precipitation is 5%. So, Dev, how about we roll the dice and head into the second half? Anytime a team writes publicly, rain or shine, we're going to play, you get a little nervous.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially this time of year. Warm and cold starting to heat things up. I know you and I have experienced our fair share of weather delays in first quarter. We've got a letter composed to Ed Bastian, CEO of Delta, as we speak, and sitting in the draft out box.
I've met Ed. He was a delight, but I don't know that he cares about our problems.
No, definitely not.
Lucio Barron and Mohamed Omar came in at the halftime break for San Antonio. Omar's second appearance, Somali international. Hawkinson out for San Antonio as well. Aggressive posturing from Cronali. Real, the initial goal scorer tonight. With the group last year on loan. Made his professional debut in Rochester with Bethlehem at 16 years old in May of 2016. James Chambers was in that lineup. So too, a rookie Austin Trusty.
I would have to imagine with the changes by interim manager, acting manager Freddie Hardetta due to the suspension of Carlos Somoza, that you'll see a little bit more of a predictable 3 with Mo Omar sitting just alongside and at times in front of Mitch Tainer and Alex Cronali. Can be a little bit more elusive on the back to pivot high on one side and the other, and dear Lord.
Yeah, I didn't get a great look at that at first, and I went, wow, first foul, that's a card, and now I'm thinking just a yellow.
That's Chilbaron very, very fortunate that, at least from that angle, what looked to be intention of nothing but aggression and physical contact.
So Barron, really his first intervention in this game, 3 minutes into the half, and he's on a booking. So Dev, San Antonio making changes with their acting head coach. Surely those things talked about. If you're Colorado Springs, you go into the dressing room, you're up 2 goals in a place you haven't won since 2019, and your message to the group sounds like what?
Good finish to the first half. Clean up what was a lackluster start. A lot of poor giveaways in the opening 15-20 minutes, but they had control after that. You know, good side-to-side movement. They were able to apply pressure up high. In final 25 minutes, James Chambers will say, give me more of that, and you will, 90% of the time, walk off the field with 3 points.
Sanchez will range over and grab it. Pressure from Colorado Springs proved a little bit stifling there.
I like this look, though, with the addition of Mo Omar. Notice how I said at times he'd sit just in front. This is really going to challenge the overall positioning of that first line of pressure. Fendelay comes high. Does he come tight? If he stays out wide, that puts a lot of pressure on Justin Dillon, who's going to have to do a ton of chasing. And then what does the midfield three look like for Colorado Springs, who quickly become at a disadvantage in a four-man system? And this is part of that evolution under Carlos Somoza that he's very happy with. He feels like the addition of Mo Omar into the mix on that back line really opens up their ability to be ball dominant and shapeshift their opponent.
And it's only his second game, but appeared last week against Miami. You'd think that's something that Switchbacks are well aware of, his tendency to pop off that back line. Good ball across the face, the attack for Paredes. Cronali. Slipping back, Hernandez. Hernandez with a deflection, sneaks inside the post. San Antonio have a goal 5 minutes out of halftime. And Hernandez continues a goal-scoring splurge. 4 in the first 7 games. And marks 150 with a tally.
And most importantly, they retain possession up high here. This is something that they've struggled with in the absence of Mitch Tainer. But as we were just talking about it, you had Mo Omar, you had balance on that back line. That's why Alex Cronali is able to push initially up high. He's the one who retains possession. As he comes out, he holds that back line just for a second. And that bit of hesitancy allows Jorge Hernandez to go to work and they get them back into one.
Game on now. Sanchez sends it away. I see Toyota Field, and Dev, my first thought, the Monsters Cave at Saprissa down in Costa Rica. Similar sort of, the dark enclosure, the outside of the venue makes it appear like you're in fact in sort of this black hole around you. And it can just condense on you very quickly if you're Colorado Springs. Conceding this early into the half has left a lot of work to be done. Slithers along off the foot of Paredes. Here comes Hernandez, 3-time All-League. That got away. That Paredes streaming to the top of the box. Fourth of the season for Jorge Hernandez, who had 5 the last 2 years combined. Was actually a much more active goal scorer in his early years at LA Galaxy too, before a trek overseas to Ukraine and Belgium. That's a ball. Here comes Madronda. Overtaken by Mahoney, corner.
Remember, I talked about that bike, though. You were discussing Hernandez and his prowess in front of the 8x8. I kept saying, Jimmy Madronda, you get him involved higher up on the field. You allow him to chase the game. He'll spread the opposition while he allows the players down underneath to have a lot more space to work within, and just drags runners with him constantly.
Natalie Simon setting the ground rules in front of goal. Romero has a bit of company right in front of the net mouth. Ball hit across, skewed into the air, smashed out over Soto. Hernandez leaves it high. Paredes attempt to deflect that from Cronali, keeps it alive still, and comes high toward Madronda. Pings a ball ahead. Cronali trying to knock that in front for Grieve, and taken on by Romero. 2 games in the championship tonight, and the other one is giving some early fireworks as well. New Mexico and Monterey Bay being played right now over on Golazo Network. Meanwhile, 3 goals in this game. Hernandez right out of the break. Real and Dillon in the first half.
Monterey Bay trying to keep pace atop the Western Conference. It's been an incredible, historic start for them.
What a start indeed.
Jordan Stewart has turned things around since he's come in, and just the 2 blemishes overall on the season. San Antonio FC, one of them earlier this year, that now sees them virtually second in the Western Conference standings.
Matt Real, this is going to be a talking to at least. Face to face with Cronulla. Now Tainter and Lacroix ensnared. The referee reached immediately for a yellow card.
I think yellow is the right decision here, though, and now, wow.
So she reached for yellow, thought it over again, and sends Matt Real off.
I got to tell you, Mike, I wonder if they talked themselves into it. Alex Cronulla was yapping at him right there, and it could be just that. If you watch him, his initial leg as he sweeps back across is coming through. The foot actually hits the ground and then almost pops back up and then comes into Alex Grieve. I'm wondering if after the fact, because she pulls the yellow, if she's rescinded it because of the aggressive behavior after the initial card is shown, for them to then go to the red. The question is not just how do you respond here. Number one, you wonder if they actually took the yellow away and went straight red. That's probably the conversation with James Chambers. But now, what has been a very aggressive back line, how do you adjust? The good news is you've got a lot of versatility within the midfield where you can just sit back a little bit, Quincy. Armand can go back over there, you flatten out your shape, but you also allow that high line of San Antonio FC to dig a little bit deeper.
And now San Antonio has grabbed one back and they have a man advantage the rest of the way. Terrific 10 minutes out of the break. Here's Paredes sending, here's Hernandez. Hernandez! That deflected off of Mahoney, corner. Colorado Springs up against the ropes.
Exactly where the ball needs to go, but give credit here to Matt Mahoney for just a second. He got the touch on the first one. Notice his defensive positioning shifts back to the middle and recognizing the threat on the near post. Perfect form for the captain to keep it out of the back of the net.
Big options in the penalty area. Cronulla, 6'5". Ball across, header, down and in! Mohamed Omar! His second game of the year! His first goal! And we're tied!
Coming in the match on April 6th, that was the 4-game winning streak. They lost to Phoenix, but one of the key points we talked about was Mo Omar. He hadn't played 90 minutes until he represented his country, Somalia, in nearly a year. You can play him in the midfield, let him sit on the back line. A veteran leader at Notre Dame that just needed a shot at the professional level. His first ever professional goal.
A season-ending injury to repair a knock to his left groin that saw him out after May of 2024. And the pride of Notre Dame, who went through Halifax in the Canadian League, arrived in San Antonio last year and saw the season end far too soon. His first professional goal. And San Antonio has come all the way back. And they're up a man for another half hour plus. San Antonio came from behind against Lexington in similarly stunning fashion on the road earlier this year. Lobbed ahead, offside. And that is quite literally the first foot put wrong by San Antonio in the half.
You know, the idea coming in for San Antonio FC with the issues that have been the past 3 matches. Again, first 4 games of the year, 4 wins. Now 3 losses, all competitions. The most positive thing Carlos Hermosa says was Mohamed Omar coming out of that Open Cup loss. Playing in that three-back type system. He's a very dynamic player on the ball. His movements are good. He knows exactly what spaces to occupy. Great relationships already with his teammates in San Antonio. Knows when to drop, knows when to go forward. He says, now I have that player that can be that tweak within the midfield and back line.
Hernandez steered aside by Romero. Comes high. Soto! Deflected by Mahoney, who's letting the team know this isn't good enough. Absolute avalanche of San Antonian pressure.
They're just getting outworked right now. It down to 10 men, yes, but every ball, every pass, the energy, the emotion, all favoring San Antonio FC. There is a massive desire right now to not be let down again.
Corner header steered across from Baron. Now the whistle's gone. San Antonio getting outworked on home ground is a ludicrous thought over the last half decade. Does not happen. And they've made quite a statement out of halftime.
Again, the model is very different under Carlos Hermosa than it was under Alan Marcina. Alan Marcina played the game a little bit more individualized in the sense of the way that they brought the pressure. Much more transitional for sure. 50-50 balls. Aerial regularly. They want to play the game high, but when they put the ball on the deck, they went to work. Now it's deeper lying in fashion. Moments like this, you sit, you lure the opposition out. A long ball here, 20 touches there. They still want to spread you thin. Two different ways to go about the game. Two different ways to find success. The hope for Carlos Hermosa is that the quality that was 2022 en route to their title and the opening 4 matches starts to reverberate once again.
Double change. Hanya and Rocha coming in. Aiden Rocha and Yosuke Hanya come in for Quenzi Arman and Garvin Metsusala. And another ball lobbed forward, grieved the target, launched by Colorado Springs. So this is going to bring some tactical changes with it after the Matt Real red card. They had already conceded once by that point. And now, after conceding the second, James Chambers, his first 2 subs. Long ball for Paredes. Bit off kilter, foul from Hanya.
Just keep an eye here, the relationships on the field. To your point, Mike, Akeem Ward will go to the left. Aiden Rocha will drop onto the back line. Yosuke Hanya will come to the left. 2 changes that with the red card is going to affect 4 different areas of the field. You still got to look at the work rate up top with Justin Dillon. How impactful is he going to be? He's got to get that pressure on that back 3, Tainer, Omar, and Cronali. Other than that, you sit, you keep the game in front of you, and you have to stay committed to the guy next to you. Communicate, go chase this game. They're going to have moments. They just have to prohibit some of these transitional ones that have been for San Antonio FC to a plenty over the last 10 minutes.
These set pieces have been harrowing, to say the least. Jorge Hernandez scored the first goal on the comeback trail in the 51st, then linked up with Omar in the 58th off a corner. Sends the cross, header down toward the line. Echeverria got it away. Touch, Soto, back across the face, tapped in! It's Grieve! It's 3-2 San Antonio! 2 down in 20 minutes. 3-2 ahead.
En route to their title run in 2022, this team scored nearly 40% of its goals from set pieces. I talked about the commitment. Notice all the black jerseys up high. Look at how flat Switchbacks FC are. Everybody just standing idly by, allowing this ball to get put back into the mixer. No pressure, up high, and no one getting stuck in on the ball back across in front of Alex Grieve.
Second of the year, the player signed from Bohemians in Ireland. Full New Zealand international, played his college ball in the U.S. at Northern Kentucky. And San Antonio has totally flipped the script. SAFC 3-2 over Colorado Springs and up a man these final 25 minutes. Abraham Romero getting looked at after conceding a third goal in 15 minutes. And that may, more than anything, be a chance for Colorado Springs to catch their breath. Not sure that Herrera is going to be necessary.
I was going to also say that you don't want to have to use the change here, not just because it's a goalkeeper, but subs even more precious, down to 10 men down the stretch, Mike, with the amount of chasing you have to do off the ball.
This will run past Stone. Let's not forget, the Open Cup last week stretches everybody. And both these teams have dealt with injuries, suspensions, new players coming in trying to figure things out. There's something to be said for the fact that going to extra time is pretty big ask this stage of the year. And yes, Colorado Springs got by Knoxville, but they certainly paid a price. You and I paid a price from that Open Cup round, let's be honest.
Didn't know money was involved. Just thought it was my voice and my dignity.
I did the Open Cup, and all I got was this sour cream infested burrito to show for it.
Yeah, it's some people pay good money for that.
Yeah, someone did pay good money for that. 68th minute, and this stretches all the way down to Romero. So, Devin, Colorado Springs, you mentioned the tactical changes that are coming with the subs that they just made. Now they've conceded again, and you go from, can we ride this bull for 8 seconds and sneak out of here with a point, to you have to be the aggressor now.
Number one, you got to start winning some of these challenges. You know, the best that we saw Colorado Springs in this game, and to be fair, the best part of their DNA is the ball at their feet, being able to, whether through their high line of pressure or their overall patterns of play, break their opponent down. And that's going to subside heavily just because of the fact that you're down a man. Now, I think the idea is you can still find success within that, Mike, but moving away from the tactical side, the ambition to be the better person in the moment. This ball comes up over the top. You got to dedicate yourself to go win it. A set piece in the box, you have to get stuck in. There's no reason why, especially at 2-2 and a momentum swinger, that ball is allowed to get to the top of the 18 and then sent back in.
Leading touch, Hanya. Tussling back and forth, it's a foul on Hanya. big part of that great run down the stretch a year ago for Colorado Springs, in on loan again from Colorado Rapids. Anya, next pro, best 11. 9th in goals, 2nd in assists in 2023, outgrew the league. 5 goals last year for the former FC Tokyo Academy player. Placed all the way down to Romero. We'll make this 5 straight road games for the Switchbacks, in which at least 3 goals were scored between the teams. The old Brendan Burkeism. We may give up 99, but we'll score 100.
It's easy to have a laugh about it now, but for a long period of time, that was really all we saw in a Switchbacks FC. I don't mean it in a negative sense. Haji Berry.
They finished first in the Western Conference with Haji Berry and Mishi Galina as their core.
Tied the single season scoring record that Cameron Lancaster set back in the late teens. 26 goals in a regular season.
Madrona got the wrong end of that. Intervention on Echeverria. Didn't require medical attention, so he can stay on.
.25, sorry.
25.
Yeah, 26 this was in his postseason. Doesn't matter. Marcanic erased the record book that was, as he hit 28 last year in regular season for the Charleston Battery.
And now overseas at CD Castellon in Spain. Big ticket outgoing transfer from the league that's made that pretty commonplace. James Chambers preparing to go a bit deeper into the bench here in a moment. Anthony Fontana and Koa Santos making their way to the 4th. Six agonizing years. The Switchbacks have been good more than they've been bad, but San Antonio has been better than them every time. Here come the changes. So Herbert Endley comes off. We highlighted just how good he was in the first half. He takes leave. Santos in his stead. Then Anthony Fontana comes in as well, who went on his own Euro trip the last few years, starting to round into form in as well. Replaces Micheletto.
Just inside 20 minutes to go, we have entered the war of attrition for the fallen Switchbacks members. Fresh legs, certainly Fontana, who can push the game a little bit higher in the midfield. It's going to make Echeverria close more space down. It's the bite that they're going to need in order to find an equalizer. Justin Dillon, you got to trust what's going on underneath. Yes, commitment defensively, but the second that ball turns over, you got to step up and start to really push some pressure on this back three of San Antonio. Pin him back, reset yourself defensively, and go to work.
Awkward giveaway, bailed out, although I'm not sure that's what the aggrieved player would feel. And a talking to for Aiden Rocha. Told us last year he was ready for a move. The adventure from Georgetown and Loudoun County, grew up in Maryland, out to the Rocky Mountains. All the while, Dev, Anthony Fontana came into the Union organization like a house on fire. 4 years with Union 2, jumps into the first team, homegrown player in 2017. ends up making the transfer over initially to Italy, said every low, Chambo had my back. That being his manager now, then his teammate at Bethlehem Steel. Chambers just got a yellow card for dissent. But Fontana, I mean, you're talking about a player that's got some pretty lofty expectations.
All due respect to the Philadelphia Union organization, he was one of the victims, if you will, in the changeover that saw Ernst Tanner become the sporting director. You talked earlier about some of the homegrowns and the millions of dollar transfer fees that accompanied them. Anthony Fontana broke through, was finding regular appearances within the first team, and then they changed the way that they wanted to play. That limited some of his minutes, certainly his appearances overall, that saw him lent out a bit more to the second team and then quickly found himself outside of first team football looking in. Just wanted to play. He got that overseas, and I love the addition though. He's one of those guys that we referenced earlier, Mike, of wanted to chase the game a little bit more, be more dynamic in the midfield, have the ability in one-on-one, something different in terms of profile compared to a Speedy Williams. He'll play the 6, play the 8, play the 10. He's going to have to do all of that down to 10 men tonight. That's to be fair.
True enough. Through from Ward, that's denied. Slipped away from Paredes. Ward would like to get this in, doesn't have an option. Bursting through, Madronda. His time in this game may well be short now. Flicks it wide, and Rocha intervenes. Stoppage and subs. Hernandez and Pacheco in off the bench. Madronda and Grieve coming off. Alex Grieve could have the game winner in his back pocket as he steps off this in the 65th.
Very well done. Second goal in a San Antonio FC uniform, just staying in an onside position, knows that once the ball's hit back into the box, it's going to catch a contact point in a certain position. Competi with Pacheco. The dagger into the corner, and right now what is the game winner. Understand, this isn't flash in a pan. Averaged a goal a game, 19 appearances, 19 goals for Alex Grieve back in 2021 after he left school for Birkenhead United.
Oh, sure.
Over in Auckland, New Zealand, powerhouse, of course. And really the one position on the field, Mike, that if you go through the scouting report, you're going, who is going to be the striker? Who is going to be the main person to step up for this team? And while certainly that game winner isn't going to cement it, it's certainly not going to hurt to turn the favor of your manager.
Over aggressive from Lacroix. Well, we've had a doozy tonight. Real scored in the 21st. Dillon in the 42nd. It was 2-0 at halftime. Jorge Hernandez in the 51st. A red card to Matt Real for a grievous tackle. Mohamed Omar equalizing at 58. Grieve in the 65th. And San Antonio, from 2 goals down, the advantage with 11 minutes to play tonight. San Antonio won the title in 2022 on home ground. Switchbacks won last season's championship crown beneath Pikes Peak. Nicky Hernandez. Let's take a look at the Best Western upcoming schedule. The Jägermeister Cup kicks off this weekend. North Carolina and Charlotte Independence over on ESPN+. May 4th, Oakland Roots and Sacramento. A lot of juice in that. Right here on CBS Sports Network. Louisville, Pittsburgh, last two Shield winners. Highlight our upcoming schedule on the CBS Sports Golazo Network.
You got a favorite group?
In the Jaeger Cup, I assume?
Yes. Thanks for sticking with me there.
Yeah. You know, I think Group 4's got a little chaos in it with Portland Hearts of Pine. There's just a little something there.
See, that's how I feel about Group 2. I think Union Omaha is going to stir the pot. Obviously, finding some cup success already in Open Cup. The darlings that are Pamuduka and Phoenix Rising, they've already seen shades of red take over here in San Antonio. Same thing in Open Cup, though they have to host Ben Olsen and Houston Dynamo. New Mexico United, Wilmer Cabrera, Switchbacks are involved. And of course, everyone's favorite, Texoma.
Yeah. Ball whipped in near post and sent away by San Antonio, but the work's not done. Spinning around Echeverria. Hanya. Lofted ball, header down Mahoney. That blocked into the stands by Jorge Hernandez.
I will never understand how Matt Mahoney, as perfect as this ball is and as great as the run is to accompany it, how does he not go for goal here? I mean, unreal. The only place where Matt Rao's got to get into it, he has his shoulders squared up, the ability to attack the ball. I mean, put that on frame and go after the goalkeeper. You have the whole net to challenge. No reason to come back across, but good pressure by Switchbacks.
Fontana bouncing ball. Straight up into the air. Echeverria went up for it. Blanco. Could there be a breakout here? Hanya couldn't corral it. Now he knocks it back to Romero. Just doesn't feel like we're done here yet. Ward. Foot race. Cronali did enough. Some big matchups in the championship this weekend as well. Lexington and Louisville meet up for the first time in the championship. Got some pretty opulent blessings schedule-wise to start the year. That's it for Akeem Ward. So ends his 150th championship appearance. And that is the fifth and final change for 10-man Colorado Springs. Juan Tejada was the championship final MVP a year ago, and he's in off the bench. Jairo Enriquez probably had the goal of that final, but Tejada certainly put it to bed. That early opening goal that seemed to really put Rhode Island out of sorts. Then Ronaldo Damas sealed the deal. Hanya. Sanchez. Cup of coffee with Dallas Sanchez. He was on the payroll at Tigres for 3.5 years. Never really found his footing there. Landed in Chicago for a time. KC, LA. Came into the championship, Hartford, Memphis. Last year, the second choice. It's been the guy so far this year. A San Antonio team without Sawahi, Arafeev, no Buckmaster tonight, who started last time out. Haven't seen Shannon Gomez make his season debut yet. Juan Agadello's been a bit banged up. Omar only debuted last week. We have yet to see the full San Antonio experience yet. But what we've seen so far could be 5 wins out of 7. early days for sure, but should this scoreline hold and New Mexico hold their advantage over Monterrey, it'd be San Antonio, New Mexico, Monterey Bay, 1, 2, 3 in the West at the end of the night. Echeverria. Ooh. Nervy stuff. Somehow that slipped all the way through. There goes Paredes. Full speed. Head up. Swept across. Mahoney read it.
It's certainly not going to be for lack of trying here. I give him a lot of credit. James Chambers, he's still being very aggressive. Yosuke much higher up, and Echeverria doing double duty, working out of the midfield, off of the back line a little bit more of a 3, and allows them to get an extra body higher up in the field. Juan Tejada is probably your X factor here. You talked about him being the MVP, just his work rate. As Ryan Davis coined him with his time at the Rowdies, the fox in the box, the unstoppable force, the Panamanian. And yes, still growing the locks for love.
Header out by Tainter. Corner for Colorado Springs. Got some guys who can do real damage. None bigger than Justin Dillon. 6'4". Fans leaning over the side. Sent in toward Echeverria. Cleared high. Paredes. Head on a swivel. Out toward the halfway line. And here comes San Antonio. Pacheco. Who can get by and then commits the foul. Pacheco's going into the book.
That's the right decision. He's not happy, Pacheco, as the arm comes away from the body. Yellow card might be a bit harsh. How's the recovery defending here? Down a goal, but game-saving. Aiden Rocha, flat-out sprint. Textbook, though. Notice how he keeps his hips just enough, slows his speed, perfect timing. Little touch back across. Thought Pacheco was going to be able to get away with it, if not for individual brilliance by Aiden Rocha.
Juan Agudelo comes in, the former U.S. international. Replaces Paredes, who is a handful. And that's the 5th and final sub for San Antonio. That's a late whistle for Aiden Rocha. And he picks up a yellow.
He doesn't make a play on the ball at all. Knows that his poor touch gets him into trouble and would have been off to the races. Certainly the final dagger if he let him play fourth.
Goal and an assist for Hernandez. Another excellent night. Does it end with all 3 points? Blanco into the corner, into Mahoney. And 10-man Colorado Springs trying to inch forward again. Away by Romero. Flick on header, Dillon chasing, Crinali away, but it's into the path of Tejada. And Soto caught him from behind. There was the red card and the 3 goals in the half. There were only 2 minutes of first half stoppage. I think we're going to be here a while. Fontana, good effort to get inside of Hanya. Play on. That catch an arm outstretched. They're going to bring this back to the foul. They let that attempt to be advantage. In the end, Agudelo stuck his arm out and caught that too.
That's perfect refereeing, by the way.
Agreed.
You got to pay credit where it's due. This is so well done by our head official. To your point, Mike, ball sprays back to the outside. What could have been then service into the box doesn't take place, comes off the backside. You bring it back to the point of infraction. Decision making can't be any better by the head official.
Well done, Natalie Simon. Welcome to stoppage time. USL After Dark, 5 added minutes. You wouldn't think Rocha fancies himself from here. Rocha directly into the wall. Able to hit this wide. Numbers are still forward. San Antonio smother it again. Epic work from Hernandez. Everyone talks about the playmaking. What a moment. Header forward from Mahoney. Ball across, leaping, caught by Sanchez. Hanya had position, but it got over top of him.
Thought they might have recognized that space for Matt Mahoney, just a bit quicker, the ball in. Not the greatest, and then all of that, some of the pace that was taken off the ball to efficiently get it in the box.
Sanchez didn't learn a thing at Tigres from Nahuel Guzman.
Yeah, exactly.
Guzman would have been on the ground grabbing his leg, his head.
He'd also probably score the game winner on the other end of the field.
Yeah, that's right.
They just don't need that right now. Keep it right now. Be smart. If you're a San Antonio player, you've got the man advantage, you've got the lead. Make them do the work.
Another foul. Hernandez on the receiving end. Tainter making new friends. There's growing frustration. Tejada is getting swatted away from this, and he's been booked for what occurred after the fact.
Certainly didn't feel like there was enough on. Stand corrected. Another day, maybe not a shot at life. Instead, a black mark on the book over the course of the evening. He won't care right now, as he's just looking to find a way to get the breakthrough that has been a very difficult second half for Switchbacks.
Head to Agudelo. How much time can he waste? Throws the stiff arm into Rocha. Up the line, free kick, more time. It's going to melt away. Stick around, we'll take a look at this wild second half. Wrap the game up here on CBS Sports Network. Third of 35 games on national television this year from the Championship and League One. We're only 2 months into this wild saga that leads all the way to the USL Championship final in November. Lobbed ahead. Off of Tainter, whose return comes with a couple goals conceded early, but may well come with the last laugh. The Switchbacks are on the verge of making it 8 straight losses here in San Antonio. They have not won against San Antonio since 2019. That's likely out of reach, but can they get a point? Into the final minute of stoppage, Agudelo stabs in. Out to Lacroix. Option running in behind. Painter and Fontana. And that could just about do it. This is what Nahuel Guzman would do. Search for the right panel. Ball hasn't been in play in 30 seconds. We've crossed the 5 minutes. Sanchez sends it away. San Antonio comes from behind. 2 goals down. And Slay Colorado Springs again. 3 goals to 2. Real and Dillon in the first half. Hernandez getting San Antonio back in the game. Real sent off. Omar off a set piece, and Alex Grieve the winner. And the San Antonio fans, who had to be shocked on the verge of 4 straight defeats, 3 unanswered. The USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Back in a moment. Serenaded in San Antonio from 2 goals down. An incredible fight from San Antonio FC to knock off the Switchbacks. The USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Dev, this game changed so fast you may have missed it out of the break.
2 personnel changes at halftime, most notably Mo Omar coming in. So this switches into a very aggressive back 3 that allowed them to be more dominant centrally. That second part is where you really want to focus. The back 3 plays themselves higher. That allows more room for the midfield three and then Jorge Hernandez to go and play pressure up top. Crognale rotates out, Hernandez down underneath, they grab 1 goal. Just 5 minutes later, it went from bad to worse. Matt Real actually gets himself into trouble here. Yes, it's the challenge. Then he runs his mouth after the fact. There's some contact. It goes red in the 56th minute. Colorado Springs Switchbacks down to 10 men.
And from 2 goals down, it'd be the header from Omar to tie it.
Said you got to believe. If you were going to be able to survive 30-plus minutes, you have to believe in the person next to you. Set pieces get them back into play. Nobody from Switchback steps up. It's 2-2. Couple of changes for Colorado Springs. They brought in fresh legs, but just 2 minutes later, the commitment by Alex Grieve to keep this position up high. It's much too deep a line defensively, but Grieve was still in an offside position. Jumps in front of Justin Dillon, shifts to the back post, redirects it to the bottom corner. San Antonio FC, 3 losses in 3 straight games. Now 3 points and back atop the Western Conference.
San Antonio's hacks on Colorado Springs is now stretching into year 7. Switchbacks fall 3 goals to 2, and San Antonio picks up a win that may well tee them up for a great run moving through the rest of the spring. For Devin, our entire crew, Mike Watts saying so long from San Antonio.